Welcome everyone to today's webinar, CYC CAC Child Focused Settings. Our presenters today are Cynthia Tonette and AJ Silva. The webinar is scheduled for 1 hour. We will have a short question and answer period at the end of the webinar. If you have a question, please include it in the Q&A box. Any unanswered questions can be directed to the presenters directly. Their contact information is included in the PowerPoint. For tech-related issues or other comments, please use the chat box. The presentation is being recorded in English and French. Please use the globe icon to select your preferred language. I will be uploading the English and French PowerPoint in the chat box in a short while for your reference. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to Cynthia to take over the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to our presentation on Guideline number 1 of the National Guidelines for Canadian Child Advocacy Centres Child Focused Setting. My name is Cynthia and I'm the Director of Programs and Integrated Practice at LUNA Child and Youth Advocacy Centre.
And I'm AJ, the Manager of Programs and Services at LUNA. In the spirit of reconciliation, we'd like to acknowledge that we're presenting today from the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, the Kainai, the Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Ihare Nakota, the Métis Nations Region 3, and all the people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 area of Southern Alberta. We would also like to acknowledge the lost and stolen children within colonial Canada and their families, which we recognize on the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Without truth, there is no reconciliation. For Indigenous peoples before us, with us, and beyond us, we honor you. We are the LUNA Child and Youth Advocacy Centre. We are located in Mohkinstsis, Calgary, Alberta, and we are one of 40 child and youth advocacy centers within the country. At LUNA, we provide a myriad of services, including but not limited to prevention, investigation, intervention, prosecution, treatment, and support for victims and families. As you can see from this wonderful picture, we are located at the Child Development Center, located at the University of Calgary campus. We boast about 3,000 square feet, which houses about 5 interview rooms, 2 monitoring rooms, 2 medical exam rooms, on-site therapy, family rooms, and office space for the LUNA staff and MDT partners. The space is designed to help children, youth, and families feel safe and secure while they're at this CYAC.
Guideline 1 Child Focused Setting states that the CYAC provides services to diverse populations of children, youth, and their supporting family members in a welcoming, physically and psychologically safe, neutral, trauma-informed, and comfortable child and youth friendly setting. LUNA provides a welcoming, magical, play-based environment to support children, youth, and families while they navigate their journey of healing from trauma and abuse. The center provides a variety of services and strengthened by our multidisciplinary team to allow for children, youth, and families to feel physically and psychologically safe. We believe that children are the priority, and we aim to create an environment where children and youth are the boss of their experience.
We believe the child is our first priority, not the needs of the family, not the child's story, not the evidence, not the needs of the court, not the needs of the police, child protection, attorneys, etc. The child is our first priority. The words of Ailist and Ryan illustrate the philosophy of our center and a core value of our work. The child is always our first priority. When children feel safe and secure, meaningful relationships are built and healing from the experience of abuse can begin.
A child-focused setting for children who've experienced abuse needs to be physically and psychologically safe. Thanks to the funding from the Public Health Agency of Canada, Luna was able to develop the online Being Trauma Aware course, which is a course for professionals to better serve clients and families through a trauma-informed lens. The course takes about 3 hours to complete. You can stop and restart between modules as needed, and you receive a certificate of completion. On the slide, you can see the web address to access this free course. And we'd really want to encourage anyone listening today to sign up. It's a terrific course.
Safe, welcoming, comfortable, neutral child and family areas. Key component 1 describes all child and family areas, as well as investigative interview rooms, should be safe, welcoming, comfortable, neutral, and reduce anxiety. At Luna, our center is divided into distinct areas of service. We have our reception child space area, family support rooms, interview suites, medical suites, and therapist offices. All areas require security swipe access to gain entry, and panic buttons are located at reception, medical, and in the therapy offices. Once at the center, families enter through a secure door and are welcomed by reception. The reception and child life space is equipped with security cameras to ensure the security of all on site, and staff and volunteers are always present to supervise. Just off reception are our family rooms, utilized to allow privacy for those who come into the center. The interview suites are situated just beyond the family rooms and have restricted access to ensure only individuals being interviewed and those monitoring have access. Adjacent to the interview suites are the medical suites and on-site clinic. The center is set up in a manner that allows for wraparound services, thus ensuring children and youth and families feel safe throughout the process and are not required to retell their stories.
Content on this slide has been adapted from the Code of Conduct guidelines set out in the National Children's Alliance Accreditation Standards, the 2023 edition. This Code of Conduct CACs have been encouraged to adopt a Code of Conduct as part of child safety and protection practices. A new practice at Luna will be embedding this child safety Code of Conduct within our existing Code of Conduct policy that's signed by all staff and volunteers. And the Code of Conduct is meant to outline the expectations of the center for anyone who's working with a client. So on this code has things like contact not related to CAC service provision between a staff or volunteer and a child or client is prohibited. Physical contact between a child or a client and a staff or MDT member must be consistent with the safety and well-being of that child or client. Staff or volunteer interaction with child clients should be interruptible and or observable. It is the duty of staff to report suspected child abuse. Luna staff are mandatory reporters, and Luna ensures that mandated reporter training is provided to all staff and volunteers. Updates to provincial legislation and mandated reporter laws are provided to staff and volunteers annually, if applicable.
A child safety assessment is a tool that is used biannually to review the child space. The assessment allows staff to conduct environmental scan of the child space to ensure it is free of risks. This is an opportunity for staff to identify developmental and structural changes that are required to adhere to best practices within the child development field. During the assessment, the following areas are reviewed: supervision within the space, child-proofing measures, cleaning protocols, condition of furniture and toys, first aid protocols, and safety and evacuation plans.
A child-focused setting is a gender-inclusive setting. Luna has made a commitment to create a gender-inclusive environment that is safe for gender-diverse communities. Our organizational commitment is demonstrated through our Luna values and inclusive spaces within the center. This slide highlights two examples of this, being our washroom for everyone and the pronoun pins that are available at reception.
A warm welcome. At Luna, much of the warmth comes directly from our team members. For those accessing services, we ensure from the first moment a child and their supports walk through the door that they're greeted and provided with whatever they require to have a comfortable visit. Our receptionist and child life specialist are in the space to support families with whatever they may require as they await their appointment. We have two K9 team members, Axel and Webster, who provide comfort and connection to children, youth, and caregivers, and often create such a bond with kids that kids beg to stay longer. Recently, I was in the child life space chatting with our child life specialist, Georgina, when a 4-year-old girl who had just completed her forensic interview came up and asked Georgina, "Can I come back and play sometime?" It's stories like these that are a testament of the safe, secure environment created by our team.
This slide shows two photos of our child life space. Our child space is intentionally designed to be child-focused and trauma-aware. There are developmentally appropriate toys for all ages, available quiet spaces for children and families, and children are provided with water and snacks. It's a space where children are provided with as much control as they can have in the setting, letting them pick their toy, and are told that they're the boss. There are diverse play centers and a variety of materials to facilitate play, which is so important in a child-focused setting. For adults, there is something adventurous about being in a child-focused setting. Adults love the space as well, and it is the same effect on them as it does on the kiddos, helping reduce anxiety and helping them feel safe. When parents see their kids relax, they also relax. This is another picture of the child space, which highlights the different play centers, attention to design, and the community feel of our child space.
At Luna, we have a sacred space. As visitors on Treaty 7 territory, Luna is working to build relationships with our Indigenous communities. Our sacred space is a room that children, youth, and families can access while at the center. It is a space for prayer, smudging, quiet reflection, and family connection. The room was painted by a local artist from the Tsuut'ina Nation, Nathan McGuinness. His artwork represents many elements of the Indigenous worldview and the deep connection to the lands of Treaty 7. This is another picture of the space.
Okay, and this is a slide of Georgina, our child life specialist. And our child life specialist helps minimize the stress and anxiety experienced by children and families when they visit Luna through the use of therapeutic play, self-expression activities, and age-appropriate education and medical preparation. We're the only child and youth advocacy center in Alberta with a full-time child life specialist. Their job is to meet the children and families as they arrive at Luna and explain what their visit will look like. To help with the explanation, the specialist might use the Child Life app, which is going to be highlighted on the next slide, or an anatomically correct puppets. The Child Life specialist also works with the support of a team of volunteers and the PALS dogs, which is the Pet Access League Society dogs. The Child Life app, which was developed by Luna's first child life specialist, provides a tour of the site and walks the child through everything that's going to happen so that they know exactly what to expect in Luna's child-focused setting. The Child Life app can be used by any professional to help support a family and helps to normalize a child's experiences, provides concrete information about what to expect, who might you meet here, and how the spaces look, and all the things that kids might wonder about coming to Luna. It's appropriate and adaptable to all children from about 3 years and up. This slide is also on the app and highlights 2 photos related to medical exam preparation. For those children who are undergoing a medical exam, the Child Life app also provides an opportunity for the Child Life specialist to prepare children on what to expect in order to reduce anxiety and demystify the experience of the medical exam.
This adorable canine is Axel. He and Webster make up our facility service dog program at Luna. Both are accredited service dogs, trained through Dogs with Wings, an Edmonton-based organization. Webster and Axel joined the center in 2016 and 2017 to provide children and youth the emotional support they required while at Luna and at the Calgary Court Center. Axel and Webster are trained to assist during forensic interviews and to support during judicial matters. Their job is to help kids feel safe, calm, and to provide comfort during a stressful and difficult time. Separation of victims and offenders. This key component describes that CYACs must have policies and procedures that address the separation of victims and offenders during the investigation process and throughout the entire service process in order to provide a service that is physically and psychologically safe for children. At Luna, we achieve this in many ways. First off, our reception has a master calendar, which is used to cross-reference all interviews and appointments that come into the center in order to prevent victims and offenders being in the center at the same time. If an MDT partner is required to interview an alleged offender, that interview will happen off-site or on a different floor in the building. In the event an offender attends the center, our policing partners are notified and they are escorted from the building. And finally, children and youth are given the option to utilize our remote testimony room to testify. Luna's policy. Luna is currently in the process of formalizing the policy that you see on the screen. Luna does not permit alleged perpetrators to be on the premises at any time and prohibits the delivery of services to alleged adult perpetrators. If any known or alleged perpetrators are found to be on the property, including those who may have accompanied a child or youth to Luna, they will be asked to leave the premises immediately. Our remote testimony room. This is one of the ways in which we support victims, children, and youth to reduce the contact they have with their offender. Luna has 2 remote testimony rooms on site that allows young people to be able to testify, eliminating the chance of running into the offender. With that said, in our region, judges still are requiring young people to attend court in person. What we would like to see is for that to change and for that the remote testimony room to be the method of court support, because the benefits are the quality of the child's testimony, the availability of wraparound services, eliminating seeing the offender, the ability to testify in a safe space, and to reduce any additional trauma.
This key component states that CYACs that serve children with problematic sexual behaviors should also make provisions to ensure the physical and psychological safety of all children and youth who visit the center. The primary service that children with PSBs receive at LUNA is evidence-based group and individual therapeutic treatment through our partnership with Alberta Health Services Child Abuse Service. The therapy team always informs Child Life if they are expecting a child who has exhibited PSBs, and they are always within eyesight supervision. All of the services provided by our Alberta Health Services Child Abuse Service is child youth focused, including the therapy spaces, how their offices are set up to ensure that the space is safe, warm, and youth child friendly. Their clinicians, everyone on the team of psychologists and social workers specialize in working with pediatric patients and their families. In terms of the treatment, all the treatment offered is evidence-based and demonstrating efficacy for children who've experienced traumatic events, and giving children power and control, meeting children where they're at, and ensuring that they know that their voice is important, including the choice to participate in therapy. Youth with PSBs. LUNA provides services to youth with problematic sexual behaviors, and appropriate safety protocols and practices have been developed and implemented to protect other children receiving services at LUNA. Youth with PSBs who are accessing the therapy, as I was just talking about, are within line of sight supervision, and the scheduling of those therapy appointments for youth with PSBs intentionally ensures separation between children and family members and youth who have engaged in PSBs. LUNA's policy about not serving alleged offenders or perpetrators on site does not apply to youth exhibiting PSBs who are not considered offenders or perpetrators, but rather youth with a problematic sexual behavior. LUNA considers children with PSBs as children first, and if proper consideration is taken, such as intentional scheduling and appropriate supervision, this does not detract from the safety of children and families. Regardless of the case details, children accessing LUNA have the right to receive services in a child-focused environment. Children have the right to feel safe, be safe, and constant supervision is what's required of all children to help them feel safe at a CAC, including LUNA.
Supervision and observation of children and youth. This key component illustrates that children and youth should be within the sight and hearing distance at all times of a CYAC staff or multidisciplinary team member when not in the presence of their caregiver. At LUNA, during operating hours, there is always supervision in the child space from staff and volunteers. After hours supervision is conducted by MDT members who work on our crisis teams. During the transition from operating hours to after hours, center staff ensure that there's a handover to children's services staff or whatever MDT partner is involved. The child space is equipped with cameras to ensure safety. Communication is key in the child space. All members of the MDT are responsible to inform when they're bringing a child into the space, taking a child out of the space, or leaving a child that is not attended by a caregiver. Case planning occurs daily to review all the interviews and appointments that will be coming in for that day. Children who need to access the bathrooms do so with the support of their caregiver. And specialized support is in place for youth who may come in experiencing mental health or concerns around self-harm. There is always an option to take a client into a separate space to monitor around safety concerns. So at LUNA, we rely heavily on our volunteers. And as you can see highlighted in the picture, we have our PALS volunteers, as well as our Child Life volunteers. And they are on site Monday to Friday during business hours to support and add extra supervision.
The next section deals with the separation of clients involved in different investigations. And this key component states that whenever possible, clients involved in different investigations should be kept separate to respect the confidentiality of children, youth, caregivers, and investigations. The LUNA team tries to stagger appointments in order to create private spaces for families accessing the center. Family rooms are available to meet with caregivers when children and youth are in their forensic interview. Confidential conversations do not occur in the child's space, as this is a place for children to play. Children are able to play with supervision while professionals are engaged with their caregivers. This is a photo of two of our interview rooms with our facility dog Webster on the left. Now, not all of our interviews involve a dog. This is a consideration that's made on a case-by-case basis. All disclosure interviews occur in private interview rooms. Our interview suites are equipped with minimal furniture and are warm and welcoming. Each room is equipped with a camera and audio equipment to record the disclosure. Interviews are recorded so those who have experienced abuse don't have to repeat their story to different agencies. Our forensic interview specialist or another trained interviewer conducts the interview. These professionals take care to avoid any further trauma for children or youth. The forensic interview is the most important phase in the investigation and is usually when the child is most frightened and vulnerable. A forensic interview, which entails discussing trauma with a stranger, can be extremely intimidating. And research has shown that one way to assist the child to begin developing rapport with the interviewer is through the use of a facility dog. Facility dogs can put children at ease in situations where the child is required to talk about something difficult. At times, children will disclose directly to the dogs. Confidentiality must be maintained at all times. And this key component speaks to confidentiality being maintained at all times except as permitted or required by law, including sharing subpoena documents with the court, reporting suspicions of child abuse to a child protection agency, and identifying safety risks to a child, self, or someone else. Confidentiality and respect for privacy is of primary concern, and LUNA's staff, volunteers, and partners ensure that case and client information is kept confidential at all times and cannot be seen, accessed, or overheard by others to whom consent has not been granted, including other families and individuals not affiliated with the CYAC. Sharing information among MDT partners is facilitated by our MDT partner agreements to allow for sharing of sensitive information within the MDT. And all staff and volunteers at LUNA are required to sign confidentiality agreements, which are reviewed at orientation and during annual training.
Responsiveness to accessibility needs of children and families. The final component talks about a CYAC being responsive to the accessibility needs of those who attend the center. LUNA is committed to delivering services that are accessible and inclusive. Recently, we have implemented a new intake process, which allows families to identify specific needs prior to attending the center. This allows the team to be able to be responsive to those needs upon their visit. Specialized care plans can be developed by our child life specialist and communicated to our MDT partners in order to allow for better delivery of service. We often will offer families a center tour if they're feeling anxious prior to attending the center, so they get a sense of where they're coming and to reduce some of the anxiety. One of the other wonderful creations our child life specialist has developed is our social stories. This is a visual document that is given to families prior to attending the center, and it walks a young person through the process in order to reduce any anxiety or fear of attending the center. And for those with visual impairments, there's the option of coming in and working with the staff prior to their interview to support any of the needs that they may find challenging. And finally, Luna offers translation services with the support of our community partners. So here are some examples of accessibility at Luna. MDT partners are co-located. Program is wheelchair accessible. We're located on a bus route. For families who have transportation challenges, Luna will provide transportation to them. And for those who have transportation and attend the center, but may not be able to afford parking, parking passes are provided. Interview suites include materials to support individuals with diverse communication needs, and access to translation services are available to all those who attend, who identify requiring those supports.
So this brings us to the end of our formal presentation. I want to thank you all for your interest in participating, and we'll open it up for questions. I also just wanted to make sure that I send out that AJ and I have a big thank you to our victim support team, who really contributed to the content that really animated these slides today. When we were asked to present this webinar, we really leaned on them for their expertise and all the ways that they make Luna a child-focused setting. So thank you to our victim support team for that.
Thank you, AJ and Cynthia, for offering your time for this webinar today. I have one question so far. Wondering about the square footage of Luna's site, and also wondering, excuse me, if there would be any ability to share or learn from the Child Life app so that we can adapt our services but not have to start from scratch.
I guess I'll take that question.
Sure.
So the square footage is about 3,000 square feet of available child life and resource space. And in regards to the Child Life Act, absolutely, we're looking to collaborate with our other CYACs, and so we'd be more than happy to chat with anybody who's interested in developing an app. And our Child Life specialist, Georgina, is absolutely phenomenal of explaining the reason and rationale for the importance of the app and how it's supported her in being able to do the great work that she does.
Excellent, thank you. Those are all the questions we have, unless anyone else has another question that they would like to post. I'll give everyone a chance here, given we have some time left over. Okay, so it seems like there are no more questions. Again, thank you, AJ and Cynthia, for your time today. The PowerPoint for the webinars has been posted up in the chat box if you're interested in keeping one for your records. And both Cynthia and AJ can be contacted via their emails if you have further questions at some other time. So thank you so much. And that is the conclusion of our webinar for today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so very much.